In the year 2001, there was a video game that honestly set the entire world on fire. That game was Metal Gear Solid 2, and 24 years later, it has now become an actual manual for what is going to be happening in the future of our collective space. I'm talking not just about video games, but the internet in general. And the reason why I bring up Metal Gear Solid 2 is because near the end of the game, spoilers for a 24-year-old game, by the way, there was a 7-minute section where the main character was having a full-on philosophical conversation with an artificial intelligence. And what did this AI try to do? They were trying to censor the internet and censor and control information for all the masses to actually see, or what they were allowed to see. And one sentence in that conversation in particular really caught everyone off guard. It's when the AI said this: "You're being silly. What we propose to do is not to control content, but to create context." That's exactly what is happening right now. And the fact that this game was 24 years ahead of its time is not a good thing, mind you. I really don't understand how right now we're dealing with the fact that the internet is being actively censored, and you as a user are not only being treated like a child, but they're using the guise of trying to protect the kids, as they always have since the 60s, 70s, and 80s, all the way through the Satanic Panic up until right now, as a means of controlling not only information, entertainment, but everything around you as well. And it gets even worse when a few Karens in Australia are using this as some sort of morality panic to ensure what you can and cannot purchase with your own dollar by approaching payment processors. In fact, we find more information about Collective Shout like this. According to Eurogamer, it turns out that Collective Shout approached payment processors, but Steam did not respond, as the Australian pressure group Collective Shout claims responsibility for Steam and itch.io and SFW game removal. They are not only taking complete responsibility for removing titles and products which are 100% legal for you to purchase, they are doing it because Steam literally ignored them. And the reason why they're doing that is because they literally want to control what you can and cannot play with your money. And going against the weakest link in the chain, basically, in my opinion, a full-on cartel of payment processors like Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, and etc., trying to pressure them, as showing that Steam and itch.io are what's called high-risk areas of purchase of products. That's why these games got removed. And some people are actually thinking it like this: Alex, it's a bunch of H games and really just degenerate slop that got removed. What's the big deal? The big deal is that it always starts like that, because censorship is not a tool that is wielded once. It is a tool that is used to steamroll over every single thing that the internet or the government or companies and corporations want to control. In fact, you know things are bad with Collective Shout when Anita Sarkeesian actually goes against them. I'm not kidding. I had to do a double take when I read this, because the person who incited trying to censor video games, calling them sexist, racist, homophobic, and everything else along that lane, is now against Collective Shout. You're going to have an aneurysm when you see this, I promise. Anita Sarkeesian on Blue Sky, in fact, said this: "Someone give this brilliant book to the puritanical angry moms who bullied payment processors into all but banning games. The reason we even have online payment processors is because of sex work. It was invented to pay for." And she continues by saying, "I really hope someone starts a counter campaign to fight this regressive puritanical nonsense. There are way more people who want to buy and support sex and sex materials, or at the very least don't think it should be banned." Remember a couple of videos back when I said that censorship is only okay when it aligns with your personal beliefs? Because yeah, sure, nobody wants to play a bunch of H games on itch.io. Those are gross, right? But the moment it comes after something that you like, that you enjoy, then it becomes a problem. Then it's a bridge too far. People were labeling me, calling me a gooner, all these horrible things, because I merely defended the practice that legal material should be able to be legally purchased, and payment processors should not be pushed and pursued by a couple of Karens online because they don't like the content that's not even available for purchase in their own country, for Christ's sake. But this isn't just about Collective Shout, it's about the internet as a whole, because of course, this is just the small stepping stone. It's merely a symptom to the bigger problem. Collective Shout is just one prong in the entire wheel of fuckery that we apparently have to deal with right now in our current year. And again, 1984 and Metal Gear Solid 2 are not manuals of what you should do in the current modern age. But thankfully, people are in fact pushing back against Visa, MasterCard, and other payment processors, and even Collective Shout, because Polygon made this article recently saying this: Visa and MasterCard are getting overwhelmed by gamer fury over censorship. Gamers are sending mass emails and phone calls to major payment processors in protest over Steam and itch.io. And that is honestly fantastic, because a small group of people should not be able to dictate what is legally available for purchase by law from you as a consumer. And the fact that gamers, of course, are always rising up and not only bombarding and trying to shout louder than Collective Shout, which honestly should continue. Please do so if you haven't already. But according to The Gamer, things may be getting into more legal direction on top of that. Posted on Twitter, The Gamer said, a bill was introduced earlier this year before Steam and itch amended their guidelines that addresses credit card companies refusing service. That bill is called the S.401 Fair Access to Banking Act, and it's being looked at right now in Congress. And hopefully this gets passed, because the ability for a mere payment processor to go around and control your money, even if it's on a debit card, credit card, or anything along that lane, is truly absurd. And the fact that a bunch of people can go around and use their own morality and push it onto these payment processors to then go ahead and choose what is a risk or not, depending upon how they're viewed in the public, is a massive concern overall. This not only flies directly in the face of what is legal to purchase or not, this is now a payment processor creating basically their own government and curtailing to you and telling you what you can and cannot purchase with your money that they apparently control. Their only job is to process the payment between your bank and that merchant. That's all they're supposed to do. But apparently, though, because of the fact that there are, quote, high-risk issues and people made a big enough stink, they decided to go through and exert their force and power onto places like Steam and itch.io to tell them either remove these kinds of games or we will remove all ability for you to process any payment altogether. If that doesn't sound like a cartel to you, I don't know what does. But I think the real sickening part about all of this isn't the fact that small groups of people are now going after payment processors. It's really everybody else trying to ride the coattails of this concern and issue. You see, yesterday at Ciarete on Twitter, who is an artist and also a musician for the game called Mouthwashing, posted this on Twitter saying, and of course Mouthwashing got yoinked from itch search results, lol. Not surprised, was kinda waiting for it to happen. To be clear, itch has been backed into a corner and had no other option. The issue lies with MasterCard, Visa, and Collective Shout, who pushed payment processors to do this. Your anger should be directed towards them. Now that sounds like an incredibly scary thing to happen, but unfortunately, things get even muddier because Ciarete may in fact be lying. According to itch.io directly, that's one, when they were going around and replying to posts, this is what was said according to Saved You a Click video. Update: itch.io clarified that Mouthwashing was de-indexed since October of 2024 for not meeting the index criteria, as her download button was just a link to Steam. It was not part of the NSFW purge. So wait, now we have artists and musicians of horror games and video games trying to ride the tail end of this to get more sales out of their game on Steam. Ah, yes, you gotta love it. You gotta love the pure crony ability for game developers to literally give themselves the worst possible outcome, and look, they in fact can. And this is incredibly saddening because there were in fact other horror games being de-indexed from itch.io. In fact, a game called Vile Exhumed had this happen to them yesterday as well. And here comes the actual kicker. Again, it wasn't banned because of the horror elements, it was banned because of the implied things that happened in that game. You didn't even see them, they were merely just implied, and that's what the game was banned for. This is why these issues are a major concern, and the fact that censorship is going way too far. Now it's no longer about watching the physical act or seeing it happen. Now it's about the mere implication of it. This is not an It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia sketch where they talk about the implications of being on a boat. No. We're not doing the Dennis system here. This is an actual set of people getting their games banned because they don't like the text or the words on the screen, and they feel it is not comfortable for you to be watching because it makes them feel uncomfortable. You see where this is going? You see how this is happening? You see how it could in fact get so much worse? And of course, in fact, does get worse, because across the pond in the United Kingdom, we are seeing a massive law being banned in order to protect the kids from being online and seeing things they shouldn't be seeing, even though that is, in my opinion, the parent's responsibility as a parent myself, that Reddit and other major websites are now trying to use age verification of its users. And in fact, it of course gets even worse than that, because websites like Discord are now wanting to have actual face scans of their users to go through to determine how old they are and if they're allowed to see certain kinds of content. I don't have to tell you how bad of an idea this is, of having a minor take a picture of their face and then upload it to a website that nobody knows who's running it or where that information is going, or even a photo ID of that person's information, whether or not they're a minor or even an adult, to go into some actual third party or even database of that website to keep and hold on record. Did anybody forget how insane it is, of the fact that anyone can be doxxed at any moment in time with their personal information? Did everybody forget what happened to the T-app just a few days ago, where thousands upon thousands of people's private information, not just their face scans, but actual photo ID, addresses, height, weight, everything under the sun was leaked onto the internet because that website decided to go ahead and put that information in a public bucket for anybody to access? Because clearly these websites have our best intentions. No, they absolutely do not, in any sense of the word. And the funnier part is, people are beating the Discord face scan by using high-res pictures of photo modes in Death Stranding 2. I mean, come on. You guys can't even do that right. The fact that people are even going around and giving that personal information to a company, corporation, or government is absolutely insane. There's rules you should follow in 2025. Look both ways when you cross the street. Don't take candy for strangers. And don't push your private information on the internet, because any company can get hacked and lose that information at any conceivable time. This is absolutely absurd. And this all falls right back into video games, because apparently it's happening to Xbox as well. Microsoft has started rolling out age verification checks on its Xbox platforms in the UK in order to comply with the new Online Safety Act. And you're thinking to yourselves, why is this even happening? Why are these companies now asking for age verification because of UK laws? This also happened, though, to Nexus Mods, where they had to post an entire backend and say, hey, look, we're going to be requiring these new steps to move forward. And people are thinking, well, why? What's the issue? Why would this happen? It turns out, according to Dark One on a thread in that actual post on Nexus Mods, here is what's in fact happening. Quote, "We did not write these laws. We have no control over these laws. Nexus Mods is not an underground website operating on the dark web. It's a legitimate business that has to follow the laws of the countries it operates in. If we don't follow these new laws, then we will get fined out of existence. The fine in the UK alone is 10% of worldwide revenue, or 18 million pounds, 25 million USD, whichever one is higher." Now, I know you're thinking to yourselves, Alex, what does it have to do with Xbox? They don't host adult content. You see, that's where the fun begins. Because according to Microsoft and VGC in the article, here's what is stated. While the Xbox verification is currently optional, this won't be the case for long. In 2026, Xbox users who wish to use voice or text communication with the outside of their friends list has to verify their age. So yes, this isn't just about slop games or H games on Steam. This is now about actual control and gaining your information and going through and accessing who you are, where you live, what you do, everything about you in a company, corporation, or even third party, to go through and access that. And you know, of course, they're not going to be regulating where that data goes. You know, absolutely they're going to be selling that data because it's worth more to them than you buying the fucking game is. And now they're going to be locking it behind, trying to use any sort of main voice chat chat or even messages. Find somebody cool that you met online through Xbox gameplay somewhere. Want to play a game with them? Give me your ID and your photo ID. I want to make sure you're a grown adult. Are you an adult? Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. That's what they're trying to do. This is going beyond everything else before. Everybody who was like, oh, Alex, you just want to you just want to be a gooner online. No, I knew this was going to happen. I called it from happening, and here it is happening right now in front of you. Pretty soon, you're going to have to give your ID to an unknown third-party company or a company who doesn't have any security or regulatory statutes in check in order for you to actually provide and use the main thing you already paid for. And of course, it still gets worse because there was a massive petition in the UK, and the UK government responded. You're not going to believe what they said. In the response to the petition, the UK government said this: I would like to thank all those who signed the petition. It is right that the regulatory regime for the scope of online services takes a proportionate approach, balancing the protection of users from online harm with the ability for low-risk services to operate effectively and provide benefits to users. The government has no plans to repeal the Online Safety Act and is working closely with Ofcom to implement the act as quickly and effectively as possible to enable UK users to benefit from its protections. There is no benefit for protections. What they're trying to do is, in fact, control, and they're trying to monitor what you are saying, what you are doing, what is happening on the internet. And I know going back to Metal Gear Solid 2 makes me look like I'm wearing a tinfoil hat from Alex Jones, but this is happening right now in front of everyone. They're trying to document and remove the full anonymity of the internet and say, hey, did you say this online at this day at this time? We have your address, we have your name, we have your information, we know everything about you, and we're going to come to get you because what you're saying doesn't match what we want to hear. This is not about video games anymore. This is about full-on control of the internet and removing all anonymity all across the board. In fact, it's gotten so bad that the Labour Party is now considering a VPN ban in the UK following the Online Safety Act. God. Now they want to ban VPNs. I don't think they know how that works, but it's going to be funny watching them try. Hell, even Josh Strife Hayes said this on Twitter. Hey, remember when everyone moved to Blue Sky because Twitter was a bit draconian? Well, now in the UK, you can't access your Blue Sky DMs unless you send your ID to a government-approved third party who will store that data for as long as they like. Upside down emoji, smiley face. No, that's right. Yeah, you can't even access your DMs unless you provide your ID in the UK. And they're going to be using these sorts of laws and ways to protect the kids in order to provide actual control and gain direct information from you. Don't give your ID. We will make it as difficult as possible for you to use the internet and control the information that you see, control your entertainment, control how you behave, and control everything about it online. I know, Alex, you're sounding a lot like you went out there and you were sitting there at Bohemian Grove and you saw what happened. That's not what I'm saying here, boys. What I'm saying here is that a group of Karens who got the ball rolling on a bunch of payment processors because they didn't like a bunch of H games on Steam are now literally going through and having the entire internet be completely censored and controlled and removing all anonymity across the board. It starts with the low-hanging fruit and then it ends in the worst way possible. 1984 is not a manual, boys. It's supposed to be a warning. And sadly, we're seeing it creep more and more into the video game space, with Xbox doing that now, and then of course having to put it into law in 2026. And you can bet your sweet bippy that's going to be applying to everything in the US and every other country as well, removing actual functionality and ability from either games of either trying to purchase them, look at them, see them, play them, message people online, simply because they want your ID. God, they want it so bad. They want your information. They want to know who you are, where you are, what you're doing at all times to control what you have to say. And that is the scariest part of all. We are living in a cyberpunk dystopia where I don't have any augmentations, I don't have anything cool, I'm not wearing a duster in the rain, and I'm not behind neon lights in a cyberpunk Asian style city. At least give me all the stuff that's cool with it if you're gonna put me in that dystopia in the first place. But you know what? Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Seeing so many other companies get fought with multiple possible fines and even having the loss of anonymity on the internet is a massive concern. So I want to hear what you guys have to think. If you want to see more of this kind of content, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, hot takes on the gaming industry, fanboy content, and live streams every Saturday night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, subscribe to the channel. We've just broken 88,000 subs and are on our way to 89K. And I just want to say thank you guys so very much. If you want Discord access and emotes during live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't sweat it. Come on down Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern. The live streams are insane. Trust me, you don't want to miss it as I get insulted by 800 to 900 people with AITTS. It's a hell of a show. With all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!